You're tuned into Balanced Life. Your Balanced Life podcast with Dr. Chris Byles, a space for people who want more energy, better recovery, calmer days, and long-term health without the hype or confusion.
Here, we talk about nutrition, fitness, stress, habits, hormones, and everyday wellness in a way that feels practical, supportive, and real-life focused. Because supplements aren't the goal, your lifestyle, your strength, and your well-being are. This is about intentional health and a life lived in balance. Welcome to a balanced life. Welcome to a balanced life.
Welcome back to a Balanced Life podcast. I am your host, Dr. Chris Byles, exercise scientist, educator, and lifelong advocate for sustainable health. All right, so I hope you all have been doing great. Had a nice weekend, all that good stuff. It's been a busy time for myself. A lot of new changes in my life, so just getting a lot done. So I'm very excited to be here to continue along this journey about health and wellness with you. And like I said, we talk about many different things. Like we just covered a whole lot of topics. I think that was one of the things I wanted to do, was to build a foundation. And so with that now, before we go into a lot of other various topics along this journey that we're going to be on, I'm really looking at, want to just talk to you today about longevity. Okay. Honestly, I think it's one of the most important conversations that should be had, that's not being had for whatever reason, right? But I think what we need to talk about is longevity, and along with that is prevention, okay? So our health is very, very important, right? Sorry, guys. Our health is very important. It's all we got, okay? And so it's very important that we are mindful and take care of the body and its health that was given to us, right? As best as you can. I know in a perfect world, it wouldn't be as expensive as it can be, right? But there are things that you can do outside of that you can, try to maintain and sustain. Our health is important, right? Beyond anything else that's going on, because once your health fails, that's pretty much it, okay? So we're looking at longevity and prevention, okay? Because we have to understand, have to recognize the one truth is that chronic diseases don't just happen, right? They don't. Chronic diseases don't just happen, all right? They develop quietly over years through habits, inactivity, poor recovery, stress, and missed opportunities for prevention, okay? That's bottom line. Now, but before we begin and get into this topic, and as you hear my dog starting to do his little tap dance in the background, before we get into this topic, let me just start first and foremost say that none of this information is for educational purposes only. There's no way any type of medical advice in anything that I'm saying today. If anybody needs some medical advice, please go and seek attention as soon as possible. Okay. But we're just learning, right? The whole purpose of this is to learn and understand what the research talks about, science talks about, and then you can make your own decisions on what you want to do. But it's worth it to look into how to prevent and have longevity, right? To prevent diseases, prevent injuries, prevent all that type of stuff that's going to come down and break you down, right? You don't want to be, I don't know, maybe I can't speak for everybody, but it would be nice to live this life and have a long life and being healthy and being able to move around and not being confined to sit down and lay down or whatever in your later years, right? As much as we would love that. I think that's I would say that would be a great goal to have, okay? But unfortunately, those things are not happening. Not everybody's following that or wanting, or it's not available for everybody. I think it can be available for everybody, but we need to, I think, change the way we think about it. Okay. So today we're going to break down what longevity is. Okay, so understand first and foremost, longevity. Don't think of longevity as anti-aging, right? There's people out there that's doing biohacking. They're doing all these different things to try and stop the aging process. It's not about anti-aging, right? If you're living, you're going to age, right? There's no, unless you're a vampire or something like that. If you're living, you're going to age. Okay. You could do things to not make it agonizing, right? But everybody's going to age, right? Animals, everything. The earth ages. It's, everything ages, okay? So it's not about anti-aging. It's about pro-function. You want to function, right? I love it when I see ladies in their 70s and 80s doing push-ups. Oh, I love that, right? I love to see that. So it's about pro-function, pro-strength, and pro-quality of life, right? That's what we're going to be breaking down today, okay? So we're going to look at what longevity really means, why prevention beats treatment every time, okay? Injury prevention, health prevention, any type of prevention, fire prevention, right, is better than reacting. Okay, it beats treatment every single time. The role of strength training, right? Strength training is very important. You can go back and look at all of historical evidence. The people of our ancestors of old worked. They were healthy. They were strong. They wasn't laying out in a wheelchair. You think about it, it's not that nursing homes were around that long. They stayed with the family. But the older generation, they was able to move around. Maybe they were blind or something, but they were healthy. What have you, right? Little things happen in life. And you can't control everything, but you can do your best to prevent certain things, right? So you want to have the role of strength training, nutrition. Nutrition is important. We've kind of touched a little bit on nutrition, but nutrition is very important for overall health. Recovery is important. Many of you guys that's young out there, I'm about to be 50 this year, so anybody that's below my age, of course, right? You might have to be thinking of that during the younger years of your life, but you want to start thinking about that. Honestly, you should be thinking about that now. But before you get to the age where you're my age, it's hard as I don't know what to start over from scratch when you haven't done something, right? It's extremely hard. It can be done, right? But if we can all avoid that, if we just don't stop moving and strength training and eating properly, if we don't stop doing that, let's remove the whole mindset of a dad bod and this, that, and the third. Just remove all that mindset like, okay, I'm married now. I don't have to take care of myself. I've got kids. I don't take care of myself, because what we do, they learn and they mimic, right? Children learn and they mimic from the parents, right? And if you're living a healthy lifestyle, they'll live that healthy lifestyle as well, right? And it just keeps moving and growing and pushing down the line. Now, again, things happen, right? I wish that certain things. Well, I wish food, period, wasn't expensive, right? You really can compare, like, food is expensive all the way around, whether it's healthy or not. And honestly, can you really trust what's going on in a supermarket to feed you healthily? Like, you think about it, we're not doing agriculture as much as a society, a society anymore, as we used to of old days. And so we kind of relate. Now we're relying on somebody else to feed us and hoping that they don't do anything to our food, which more and more information and stuff's coming out that yes, they have done something to our food, right? But nutrition is important. And if you can find a way to grow it yourself, whatever, right? Find local markets, not the big chains, if you have those available in your town. If you're in so-called a food desert, some of you guys know what I'm talking about, to explain that, but if a food desert, you might have to carpool with somebody that that maybe y'all can go out and spend some gas and get some foods elsewhere. But your nutrition is so important, 100%. Like nutrition tops exercise, right? I mentioned this before that the whole saying the abs are made in the kitchen. You can't bypass that, right? Nutrition is the number one key, right? So we have nutrition recovery, always running yourself into the ground and not recovering, not taking a day off. The Bible talks about a seventh day Sabbath, right? So they, even way back then, they knew they needed a day to rest and recover, not just to worship the creator of all, but to rejuvenate their bodies, right? Because all the stuff they was working in the field, right? It's important for you to rest, like the land has to rest. It's just like a whole thing, but it's important because it gives your body balance, right? It gives your body balance. You're not overdoing it, but you're doing what you need to do for your body to stay strong and and survive. Mindset, that's a big one, right? So I've mentioned this before. The saying is, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. Mindset is number one, man. Right? So as a man thinketh, that is number one. So if you can think, if you can have a positive mindset, that no matter what, like even if I have problems, even if I'm not able to, if I have setbacks, I'm going to succeed at doing this. Don't let your body and your mind trick you into thinking that you're unable to do something. Everybody's able to do something. Everybody has the same 24 hours. And it's not really 24 hours in a day. It's a 24 hours in a whatever you want to call it, right? It's a 24-hour time period, but the day is really like the daytime, right? From the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. You have just that much time to get a whole lot of stuff done. And we all have time to do something for our health, whether it be cooking our meals, not eating out as much, whether it be getting up early in the morning, right, before your kids get up, right, to go to the gym and then get them together. Is honestly, I mean, if it works for you for your schedule, work out later, but you just got to get it in, right? Whether it be walking with the family after dinner, going to take an activity, playing sports as a family. If you got kids that are old enough, go outside, get some tennis rackets and just hit the balls back and forth. That's going to give you some exercise. It's going to, properly warm up as a family, do these type of things, but don't neglect your body. But mindset is like key. You can do whatever it is, right? But you got to do it. You got to try. If you want to lose weight, if you want to be healthy, if you want to be there for your grandkids when your grandkids are moving around, I hear all of it when I get clients, right? They tell me, I've heard this, I want to be better, I want to be able to move around for my grandkids, I want to be there for my grandkids. And that's a great thing, but let's not paint ourselves into a corner where now we got to fight our way out of it. And now it's hard, it's a struggle, you've been doing it, right? Let's normalize that. That's just my 2 cents, okay? And the last thing, we want to learn about how to build a body that lasts, not just looks good, right? And I think we want to kind of be careful about wanting to look good as opposed to wanting to feel good, right? You want a body that lasts, not just looking good, right? That's easy, but just having a body that's long lasting, that can do anything you wanted to do at the drop of a hat. That's health. Okay. So what is longevity really? What is longevity? Okay. When people hear longevity, first thing they think of is living to 100 years old, right? Anti-wrinkle creams, right? Extreme biohacks. Biohacks is a big thing right now. And so we think, okay, we do these biohacks, we do this, I can live. There is no magic pill. If I'm going to be honest to anybody today, if you hear anything I'm telling you, there is no magic pill to this, right? You have to be careful, even with the things like this, the new drug on the market right now. It may cause you to lose weight, which is great, but this doesn't change the habits and mentality. And sometimes for some people, and you're going to hear more about this stuff, that more and more people are having vaccine or drug damage, right, from the medication, and certain things happen about this. They're having problems with their stomach, this and the third. All these type of drugs do have side effects, right? But the things that don't have side effects are the things that can really have you longevity. But you have to be consistent at it. You can't just think, I'm going to do a shortcut. I'm going to take this vitamin for this time. Oh, it's not working. No, these things, eating healthy has to be in your body, has to be a long going, continuous thing, right? It can't. As much as I would love to lie to anybody and tell you that it's going to be easy, it's not. That's why the fitness industry has irritated me over these few years, because there's always a constant, it's always some gimmick, and it bothers me. And I'm in the fitness industry. It bothers me. Way back in the day, 6 weeks to 6-pack abs, and people don't achieve that, and then now they're in a rut. They're upset, right? It's not about feeling good. It's just about looking good. That's where all those cases of steroid use amongst these young athletes keeps coming up, because they want to, especially the bodybuilders that are out there. You just want to look good, right? And it's the fact that you're able to put your body through such extremes to look a certain way is, I guess, great in a way, right? Especially if you're unable to do it naturally. Not everybody's meant to be walking around with muscle naturally. It does put pressure, just like being overweight. You want to be efficient, you want to have muscle, but you don't want to be looking like that. You don't be like overboard with that, right? Because that's still not, because these young cats that are out here bodybuilding, they're dying young. There's been a whole lot of bodybuilders that's died over the years, but they won't say it. But the common thing is that these guys are on the juice. As much as you don't want to admit it, there are side effects to it. So when you start really focusing on looking good instead of being healthy, I think you got to watch out for that, right? You want to be, because then you start doing things that you shouldn't do, and it harms your body to look a certain way, right? Again, I understand everybody says we all live once, and everybody got to die from something, but poor health is, I want to skip that one. If I can, most high willing, right? But we're focused on the wrong thing. I think so. Quit looking at the lifespan, which lifespan is only looking at the overall life, like how long you live, and think more about health span. Now, if you've never heard of health span before, health span is the number of years you live independently, pain-free, and metabolically healthy. Okay, your heart, your lungs, your liver, your organs, all those things are running like the way you are put here on earth, the way it's intended to run, right? For as long as possible, without being bedridden, without being able to move around independently, right? Pain-free, right? Mobile, agile, right? Is possible. It's not impossible. I'm seeing it happen. You can look on social media and see that it's happening to this day. There are people, there are women and men out there that are late age in life, and they're picking up weights and they're working out and they're doing really well. Amazing stuff. Okay, I love it. Told you I had a client who she still works out to this day. She's not my client anymore, but she was phenomenal. I've seen 70-year-old women do push-ups, right? Perfect. Right? That's just beautiful. But that's health span, right? To still be 70, 80, 90, 100, who knows, 110 years old, it's not impossible, right? But to be that old and still be able to move around like you did in your teens, your 20s, your 30s, right? You keep going at it, your 40s, your 50s. To me, that's what we want. That's a nice, healthy health span, right? Because research constantly shows that the biggest predictors of long-term health, are muscle mass. You got to have some muscle. And I'm not talking about He-Man muscle. I'm talking about muscle, right? You got to have some muscle. Cardiorespiratory fitness, that's your heart, your lungs. You got to have some cardiorespiratory fitness. Your resting heart rate should not be that high. If your resting heart rate is over 100, that's a problem. You want to have I think the range is between 65 to 77 resting heart rate or something like that. I think sometimes it can get into in the high 50s for a resting heart rate, right? But your That's resting and chilling. If you're resting and just chilling, and then your heart rate is like over 100, some people that have a resting heart rate of 50, 60, 70, that's what they're getting when they work out, about 100. So you're getting 100 by sitting down. That's not a good thing. Okay. So we got to work on your cardiorespiratory fitness. It shows that insulin sensitivity helps. Like it shows the biggest predictors of these things, right? Insulin sensitivity, inflammation control, mental and emotional resilience. Research has come out. More psychiatrists are starting to recommend exercise to their patients because it helps with their mental acuity. It helps with all types of things. It helps with depression. Okay. I can attest to that. 100%. So one thing that I think we have to understand is that longevity is not passive, right? It's trained. You give it what it needs. It gives you back what you like. It gives you back. It's like a give and take situation. And as we constantly give the body proper nutrition, exercise, stretching, mobility, those type of things on a regular basis, the body's going to be nice. You're not going to have any aches and pains. You're not going to be hurting when you get older. Research is showing this, okay? So think about this for a second. Think about what would be the most important thing to do to achieve longevity. And as 100% the truth is, prevention is the most underrated medicine. You have to prevent it. You have to do things to prevent to being unhealthy. You just don't. Like if you know something's poison, you don't just keep putting poison in your body. If you're learning and you see like, man, this thing is poison, but you know what? It's a little bit more, it's what I can afford. Your body only until so long can only so long keep getting, keep fighting off the bad things that we're doing to our bodies, right? Overfeeding, overconsumption of food, not taking care of our organs, not taking care of our knee and gut health, not taking care of our bowel movement and everything like that, not taking care of these things, right? And over time, eventually the body's like, I can't fight no more. And so now is when the sicknesses and those type of things come in, right? Research is even showing that more mucus, inflammation in the body is petri dish for it, infections and disease and sickness, right? So we have to really think about this thing. So longevity is proactive, right? Modern healthcare is reactive. Okay, again, educational purposes only. But let's be real, right? Nutrition, even today's modern medicine doesn't even deal with nutrition. Now, if you go, which I would recommend at some point in your life, if you've never done it, go seek out a naturopathic doctor and then go through that experience and see what they talk about, right? And then sometimes they can tell you what you're dealing with. It's going to cost you some money, but if you don't have great insurance, even if you do have good insurance, you still have to pay something, right? You just have to pay a copay. So just think about it like that. But it's not ridiculously as expensive as the regular hospital. But you can go and find out, look at what they're saying, and just see what's going on with your health, and then you take some of their advice. See, try that out, right? It's still the medical industry. It's just a naturopathic side, right? And then before modern medicine, naturopathic medicine was the original medicine, right? So let's be real, okay? So we will look at how you can live independently and longer, right? But if you look at it and think about all the chronic diseases out there, right? You have number one killer, which is heart disease, type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, cognitive decline. They all share the same root cause. It's all the same root cause. Look it up, research it. Sedentary behavior, poor nutrition, chronic stress, sleep deprivation, loss of muscle mass, and metabolic function. That's wild right there. And that's what we're seeing. And that's what we're doing. Our food is ultra processed. We're not getting that much exercise. If I'm not mistaken, is even, I don't think every state has PE classes anymore. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's been a long time since I was in school, but they've been arguing about this for a long time when I was younger, right? Because my programs don't have music programs. You need to continue doing these things even at an older age. Even if you're not working on a farm, even if your job is not physical, right? If you're not doing a lot of physical labor, your body has to go through something physical on a daily basis, okay? So with that, the goal of prevention is simple. You're delaying, you're reducing, you're eliminating disease risk before it starts. And honestly, like I said, go look it up. Fact check me. The number one prevention tool is going to be more likely exercise, especially resistance training. The yoga classes, all that stuff is great, but you got to get some resistance training. You got to. And I will say this. We're going to talk about strength training right now, but this is the reason why. And for all you newbies out there that are looking into doing this, take my advice. I highly recommend that if you're the first time going to the gym, please try not to follow as much social media as you possibly can. There's a few people out there. Shout out to Jeff Cavalier from Athlete X. There's a few people that I recommend. He's one of the ones I really would recommend. Knowledgeable, educational. He does a lot of stuff breaking down a lot of the science behind everything. Highly recommend that guy. And but right, I would limit myself to how much social media. You got to research. You got to get somebody to help you as much as possible. Research, study the anatomy, how things work. Because here's a thing, and I'm segueing real quick. The way the body is made, right? You have what we call a kinetic chain from the foot all the way up to the feet, all the way up to the head, right? And as you're moving and everything like that, you have to watch alignment, mechanics, by alignment. There could be certain times where you may or may have a hip out of alignment. But anyway, if those type of things happen, if your body's out of alignment and you do certain things, if your body's tight in certain areas, or you got hips that are overly tight, inner thighs, those type of things, and you start working out in that, and you don't correct those in the beginning, the possibility of injury is pretty high, right? Because your body's doing stuff and you're not correcting the thing. Unfortunately, as humans, right? Everybody's not a visual learner, but as humans, when we physically do something, especially like exercise or sports or what have you, your body does what goes to the path of least resistance. So whatever, if you're doing something and it's not, and it could be wrong, you don't even know it, but your body will learn how to do it that way. And over time, you have to be careful because that could cause an injury depending on what you're doing, right? Especially if you're squatting, your knees caving in. Now you're putting weight on your shoulders, and your knees are caving in. When you come up, you're going to mess your knees up, right? So you have to really be mindful. Strengthen your ankles, your hips, your glutes, right? It's all one chain, one thing up the body. And so I would recommend, especially if you don't know how to do that, get some help, guys. Don't be so proud that you can't. Men too. You guys are really proud, really good at this one. Get some help, right? Even if find a trainer partner that you can watch each other's form. It doesn't have to necessarily be a personal trainer, but I would recommend getting finding a place that has good personal trainers, right? That can look at your body, look how you're set up, and then give you the necessary corrections to fix those things so you can move on and you can be stronger and better faster. But that's just my recommendation. You don't have to do that, but I would really pay attention to your body mechanics. Pay attention to what hurts, do a lot of mobility and stretching, those type of things. But that's a great way that's going to help you prevent any injuries, especially if you're a newbie. But anyway, moving on. So we understand this, and I talked about that for a brief second, but that's how important this is. Strength training equals longevity. It's like it's insurance. It equals longevity. Strength training equals longevity, right? First thing that they do with people that are diagnosed with osteoporosis or they start having osteopenia is that they start recommending them a strength training regimen, right? It's great for that, right? Because you don't want to lose muscle. You don't want to. The problem is this loss of muscle and bone density, right? So the weight training is going to help increase those things. We have to understand that after age 30, adults lose 3 to 8% of muscle mass per decade if they don't train. I've been fortunate, like I have, my body weight is, I want to say I have 130 pounds, if I remember, 30 pounds of muscle. Might be a bit more than that, like 180, something like that. But anyway, because I'm currently I'm at 200 pounds right now. And I'm not happy about that weight. I want to come down a little bit more. But I feel strong. I mean, I'm very strong for my age. Maybe not, but I'm very strong at this point in my life. I'm probably as strong as I've ever been. I can't compare myself to other 50-year-olds. But as far as I feel in my life, I feel the strongest I've ever felt, even as an athlete growing up. I'm not sprinting. I'm not that fast anymore. But strength-wise, I feel like I'm strongest than I've ever been, right? And I'm happy about that. So you're gonna lose some muscle if you don't train anyway. If your body you're just going through life doing even normal the things that work. But you don't train, get some weightlifting in, you're gonna lose muscle, right? It's just the way it is. As we get older, we start losing muscle, and so that muscle loss is linked to frailty, falls. My older gentlemen and ladies out there that are older than me, right? When you lose muscle and you're not as strong, if you slip or fall, those are some of the things that actually in some older people, right? So you want to be stronger so you don't have to worry about that. It does. That muscle loss also is increased or linked to loss of independence, which we're trying to avoid, poor glucose control, increased mortality risk, right? We have to understand that strength training is going to help bring all that back, right? It preserves muscle and bone density. It preserves it, right? It improves insulin sensitivity. It reduces inflammation. Movement reduces inflammation. You got to think about like injuries. That's another thing too for injuries. If you're injured someplace, you want to try not to keep it steady so much. Like research is showing that movement, right? Even E-stim units, right? Electrical stimulation movements units. If they have portable ones. You can get some of those if you have some injury, place it on the areas, and it'll help recover really fast because it's moving, right? Moving around, even moving around when you're sore, right? Last thing you want to do is just lay there and not do anything. A walk, getting a stretch, doing some dynamic movements is going to loosen you up, right? Have you ever been sore and went to the gym the next day and you start moving around, the soreness leaves you, right? You stop feeling less tight because your body's, it's the same thing, right? So movement is going to be helpful, right? It reduces inflammation, supports hormonal health, protects cognitive function, right? So again, this is why strength training is recommended for older adults, women in their premenopause and menopause stages, individuals with metabolic diseases. Anyone serious about aging well, it's recommended for, right? So get your butt in the gym, right? And now don't go in there for New Year's. Go in there and stay in there, right? Shout out to Papa Solio. Get your butt to the gym. You see what I'm saying? All right. So it's recommended for us all. So longevity training isn't about maxing out. It's about consistency, progression, and recovery. Okay. So before we take our break, we're going to talk real quickly about nutrition for longevity and prevention. Okay, we're going to talk quickly about that. Then we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to come back after these messages. Okay. So understand that longevity nutrition isn't extreme dieting. None of those fast diets where you're cutting out all this different stuff, right? You're only eating this, that, and the third. Or you're just going to not eat it all, right? No extreme dieting, right? It's all about getting your nutrients and metabolic support from the food that you're eating, okay? This is the key principles, and we talked briefly about this in our setup for all this, right? But key principles, adequate protein is what we need to preserve muscle. Got to have adequate protein. Fiber-rich foods for gut and heart health. If you ever paid attention and looked at like certain foods, how they look at, like somebody's done that when they've looked at, they cut open the fruit or the whatever it was and how it looked like certain body parts, like the tomato. If you cut that open, it kind of looks like heart valves and everything like that. Well, that's because if you think about it, tomato has something called lycopene in there, which is great for the heart. Right? A lot of heart supplements have lycopene in them, right? So you get to eat your tomatoes, you're going to get some lycopene. Now, there's other things, you have a little bit of acidity, but what have you. But tomatoes, like walnuts, I think if you cut walnuts open, it looks like a brain. Well, the fats in the walnuts are great for your brain health, right? So all these different things work and tie together. How amazing is our Creator by giving us these things. But adequate protein, high fiber foods for gut health, heart health, right? So really pay attention to your foods. Healthy fats, which I just mentioned with the walnuts, avocados, great healthy fats. Those are great for hormonal balance, right? And you got to have your micronutrients for cellular function. Whether you're eating microgreens or you're getting them from a supplement. Key nutrients, sometimes if we're missing key nutrients in our nutrition or our body's not going to function. It's going to be off a little bit, right? It's not going to be where you should be yet. Sometimes some nutrient deficiencies are the cause of a lot of different things going on in our bodies and our health, right? We clear those up. We should clear up a lot of things. So have to look at those. So micronutrients are helpful because they're great for the cellular function, right? Now, I think I've said this, but I 100% believe, right, from the research and everything, that our biggest longevity risk is under eating protein and fiber, right? Honestly, we should be like a meat and vegetables type of situation. Carbs only when it's necessary, right? That's just my opinion. If you're able to handle the carbs a little better, depending on what you're doing, if you're doing long distance running or if you're an athlete, right, you're going to have to use more carbs, right, just to get the energy you need. But it's just like I said earlier, a few shows back, food is only fuel anyway, right? Just think about food as fuel. It's nothing to overindulge. I wish that many of these people on social media would stop doing those mukbanging. It's disgusting. In my personal opinion, of course, but we got to be healthy. Those are those unhealthy habits that we're promoting to the world, right? And just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something or it's best for you, right? And the body, as much as we don't want to believe it or not, the body will tell you if you did something that made it mad. Straight up. The body's going to tell you, whether it be inflammation, mucus, pain, right? Anything. If the body don't like it, you're going to know, right? 100%. You're going to know immediately. The body's going to tell you, okay? So we're under eating protein and fiber, especially as we age. So think about prevention nutrition because it's going to help with muscle repair. It's going to fuel muscle repair. It's going to help with immune defense, blood sugar control, long-term energy. It's a lot of great things. I mean, who wouldn't want that? But it's got to be consistent, guys. It's got to be consistent. All right. So, and we're not trying to be, pushing supplements. That's not what we're about. But again, if you're not getting these things to help you, if you're not getting these things from food source, like, or all your foods are nutrient dense, sometimes a great supplementation is going to be helpful for you. There's other things that these supplements do, like that even help you when you're under the weather. Like for instance, I believe it's the oil of oregano. It helps. It's like a natural antibiotic, but not an antibiotic, more like a probiotic, right? But it actually helps with the virals and all any type of viral infection you might have. It's great for vitamin C. Is great for prevention and immunity and all this stuff, right? So there's great things out there. So unfortunately, again, like with the fitness industry, the supplement industry can be very problematic as well. But it's just up to us to try and help each other out, share information, and give you the right information that you can make these right decisions for yourself. If you go to a naturopathic doctor and you start seeing their product protocol, they will recommend a lot of these vitamins I'm talking about. But a lot of times, first and foremost, they're going to go with your nutrition to fix your nutrition, see what your nutrition is about, to try and help you reverse anything that's going on. Right, people have helped. There's been cases where people have actually gotten rid of terminal cancer and terminal diseases from changing their nutrition and they're sticking with it. So it's possible, right? But you got to be willing to continue. I say it again, stay with prevention and keep doing that. Okay. So we're going to take a quick break and we're going to just pause for the cause and come back and continue to talk about longevity, right? I think longevity and prevention is a great topic, and we need to understand that and have this in the back of our mind when we're going, or maybe in the front of your mind, when you're going along through your fitness journey. Okay? With that being said, we will be back after these messages.
Running on empty, stuck in the grind. Muscles are aching, I'm losing my mind. Water's not hitting, I'm still feeling drained. Until I found something that has rewired my brain. BalanceLifeSubs.com. Yeah. Balance electrolyte complex, clean to the core. No crash, no junk, just minerals and more. I sip it post with the wind, life hits too hard. It's fuel for the system like flipping the card. Balanced electrolyte complex. Supplements. I'm in recharge mode with balanced electrolyte complex at Balanced Life Subs.
Welcome back to Balanced Life Podcast. Your host, Dr. Chris Byles, here to continue on with this topic of longevity. All right, guys. So, man, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I really love what they do over at Balanced Life Supplements. I really do. Not just because they've got ads on here, not because I use I use these products, right? I use other products too, but I use these products, and I love a lot of the stuff that they have on their website. It's like they're taking the time to have something for everybody, right? From nutrition to wellness, they got a lot, right? So that's why I recommend Balanced Life Supplements, right? I do not recommend a lot of things, right? Especially when I'm presenting information, right? So I recommend this company. There's formulated support, the muscle health, the recovery, the metabolic balance, and overall wellness. If you need those things, they have them there at Balanced Life Supplements. Whether you're training hard, aging, right? I recommend it for everybody. My mom even takes their products. She's helped taking some supplementation to help regulate her blood sugar, and it's great for her. She does it. She takes a lot of their stuff. She's even starting to get some creatine from them real soon as well. So highly recommend the products, guys. But go over to BalanceLifeSubs.com, www.balancedlifesubs.com, and go check out, see what they have, guys. Very, very good company, and you will not be unsatisfied. Okay, with that being said, we're going to get right back into the topic, guys. Now, we done talked about prevention in so many different ways, but now I want to talk about it in a sense of recovery, right? Recovery, sleep, and stress. These are silent factors that'll mess you up, right? It doesn't matter if you train well, you could train well, eat perfectly, but without recovery, longevity suffers. It is a problem, right? So recovery is going to be very helpful, very important. And I can attest to a lot of this, what I'm saying, right? I'm just not talking to you. I'm talking also from experience as well. Sleep deprivation increases insulin resistance. So if you're not getting enough sleep, and ACSM has an article where they recommend over 7 hours of sleep, between 6 to 7, 6 and 7 above hours above on sleep to help repair from like anything or come back from or prevent type 2 diabetes. That's what it is. That's one of the articles that they have, right? And so, but it increases your insulin dependence your insulin resistance increases when you sleep deprived, right? You also get more inflammation. That's a possibility. Fat storage accumulates. You're not understanding why. You're not losing weight. You're probably not getting enough sleep. I can attest to that. I was having a problem with weight loss. I started changing the way I slept, and I started losing my weight. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not unhappy with the way I'm looking, or I feel good. I feel I feel strong, but I personally want to be down probably another 15 pounds, and then that would be good for me. But for me, as long as I'm keeping my strength and all that other stuff, that's more important. Okay, but my nutrition is you get some sleep. It's going to help with, especially if you're on a plateau. You might want to look at sleep. There's all things to look at, but you might look at some of the most simpler things. Sleep might be one of the things that you might have to think about. Like, am I getting enough sleep? Right? The body is going to shut down one way or the other. Right? This is one of the things that I've learned in this life is that we have no control over nothing. Not at all. If you're tired and you have to sit down for a second, without you knowing, your body will fall asleep. And sometimes if you ran it too raggedy, it'll have you fall asleep at the wrong time when you don't want to be falling asleep, like driving behind a car, behind the wheel of a car, right? If you got to use the bathroom at any given time and your body says, it's time right now, nothing's going to stop you. You can't stop a bowel movement from happening man, come on now. Don't act like I'm the only one that knows what I'm talking about. When it's time to go to the bathroom, then it's not a joke anymore. It's time to get to the bathroom. Okay. But anyway, you're going to have all these problems. Okay. All these things are a possibility of lack of sleep. Okay. So, and then when you have chronic stress, there's so many of us out here in the world. You know who I'm talking to. There's so many people out here in the world that live off of stress. Now, stress is good, especially with weight training, but you're living a constant state of stress all day long. The body is eventually going to shut down. The body's going to say, screw you. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm done with this. You didn't kick me. Now you kick me when I'm down, right? The body is saying, I'm tired of you, right? It needs a break from you, right? So that's when it gets sick. That's when you might have to go lay down for a little bit. You might get the flu. Your body's not going to do it anymore. It's done. Now you got to go get some rest to recover, and then you can go back out there and beat your body up a little bit more until you get sick again. And eventually, it's just not going to be. It's not going to continue stopping. But you don't want to be overstressed, right? So just understand the longevity is not built in overnight. It's not built in the gym. It's consistently being built over time and continuously. And even when you're in shape, you have to stay in shape. You may not like it. Everybody doesn't like working out. But if your health is important to you, you're going to want to make that happen. You don't have to work out the same way as everybody else, but I do recommend that you get some weight training in your life. Because even if you go out there and play pickleball, or you go out there and go on a run outside, right? The weight training is going to help prevent the injuries that you may obtain or sustain from playing your sport. Especially if done properly. Okay, it's a daily rhythm. So we want to create habits. again, we're trying to remove stress from our life, but it does accelerate the aging level, aging cellular level. So we want to create new habits by sleeping 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep a night, right? 7 to 9 quality hours is perfect, right? 7 to 9. Remember that, right? Try if 6 is all you can do, that's better than nothing, right? It's better than 5. It's a lot better than 4. But I used to consistently sleep for about for about 4 hours a night. I did that for so many years, right? And just not good for you, right? All praises that my body didn't shut down or anything like that, because I was still working out even by doing those 4 hours. But no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to continuously do that to your body. Pack that up, son, right? You don't want to keep doing that, right? But these habits include 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, mobility and recovery work. You got to recover. You got to be mobile. Stress regulation practices, breathing, meditation, whatever it is. But get rid of that stress. To read a book, go for a walk. Exercise is a good tool for managing stress. And sometimes we need the social connection and purpose, right? And I love going to the gym. I go to the gym, and I have a gym down in my house, right? So I do both. But sometimes going to the gym is good for people that need that social connection. Now, have a social connection, but I would say get in and get your workout done, okay? Don't be playing games in the gym. Don't get off the cell phones and all that stuff. Go in there, find a workout, go in there with a plan, and then know how to execute. But again, everybody, especially my newbies out there, try and get some help if you can. Please. Please. Classes are great, but to know what's going on, correct your actual form, change the workouts for you when you get into a plateau, you get not stuck to know what to do. Because even if you go on YouTube, what have you, and find workouts, you're not going to, unless you're paying for it, you're not going to get programs. And a lot of the times, honestly, 100% being real to you is that those workouts are sometimes cookie cutter workouts. They're not really focusing on your direct needs of what you need to be better as an individual, as an athlete, whatever you're doing, right? That's why athletes have coaches. Everybody at some point in life has coaches. Even wealthy people have coaches, right, to help them make the best moves and move on. So don't be so stuck in your ways that you can't make a change like that to get the help you need, even if it's just 6 months, and then move on. Be done with it. We're not really. I would never say you want to be with a trainer forever unless you're one of those type of people that they need that in their life for them to go to the gym. But to get started, 3 months, 6 months max, I think is perfect. And then take what you learned and then go. And if you can always, some gyms, depending on where you're at, they'll let you pay for a trainer for like one time or like a little trial period, three pack. Do a few of those, right? If you want to get into a more permanent package, right? There are places to go. You guys are working corporate settings. There's personal trainers at your corporate facilities, right? You don't have to go to the gym. You can go pay a little bit more money for the personal trainer on site. They're very knowledgeable. A lot of those have to have their degrees. So, but get the work, get the help. If I would say, get the help, especially even if you're at you used to work out, right? Get checked. Get your body mechanics looked at. That's what I really recommend. Okay. So we're almost done here. We're going to start wrapping this up, but we want to put all this together. Now we're going to put all of it together. So understand that longevity and prevention, they're not complicated. We make them complicated, but they're not complicated, right? But they require intention, just like you they require intention and attention, right? Because it's like you would take the time to train your dog or would do this, that, and the third, or pour it into somebody else. You got to take the time to pour into yourself. Because look at it like this. The whole analogy about, when you're on a plane and they tell you, in the case of an emergency, the oxygen mask comes down. What do they say to do? They say, first put the mask on yourself and then help somebody else, right? So a lot of times you can't continue helping somebody else without first helping yourself. And this exercise, this health, your health is a way to do that. Now, if you live a healthy lifestyle and you're wanting to help somebody that's always helping somebody, they can see how you live, and maybe they might want to try that too. You see what I'm saying? So longevity and prevention, they're not complicated, but they require some work. Formula is simple: train for strength and function. That's the first thing you should think about. Train for strength and function, right? What you do in your everyday life. You pick up groceries, you carry groceries around. Some of the training should include stuff like that, right? More and more research is talking about grip strength to longevity, or mortality, grip strength compared to mortality. So in the quick rundown of it is that the stronger our grip strength is as we get older, the longer we live, right? But I would say that everything correlates with mortality, right? Everything. But yeah, you do things that you're going to be that's functional for your life, right? Eat to support muscle and metabolism. That's it. Energy, support muscle. So that means you're eating a lot of protein and fiber. Okay. Sleep like your life depends on it, because it does, right? Sleep like your life depends on it. All right. Manage your stress before it manages you. You have to manage your stress. Many people out here don't know how to manage their emotions, and I get it, right? It sucks out here. Many of us wasn't prepared for this. Many of us didn't get the memo from our parents that life is going to suck, right? And then you get out there and it does. But it is. But we're here, right? And we got to make the best of it, right? So you got to manage your stress before it manages you. You want to stay consistent, not extreme. So there's extreme diets, there's extreme makeovers, there's extreme this, that, and the third. Stop with the extreme, right? That's why the documentary of The World's Biggest Loser came out, and you saw what you saw in the documentary. If you've never seen that, go to Netflix before I take it off, but look it up for The World's Biggest Loser documentary. That's all I'm going to say. Watch that. Ridiculous. Anyway, you want to be, stop with extreme stuff. Again, it's not going to be perfect. Your body's not going to respond in an extreme way. Only extreme way it might respond is negatively. So try to do stuff that your body can adapt to, that you can stay consistent with. It's a long journey. It's a journey. For those of you who read the Bible, it's not a race. It's not a marathon. It's a marathon. And the more you stay consistent, the better your health will be. Right? Now, there's things that happens, right? There's things that happen. Some things are unavoidable. Right? I'm not trying to say this is like a magic thing, what have you, but why not take the chance? Right? Why not take the chance to just try and continuously live like that? It's because it's better in the long run. You see where we've gone as a nation in the past 40 to 50 years. We used to be a nation not so overweight. Now we're a nation of being overweight, and now they just classified obesity as a disease. Right? It was never a disease before 1980 or in the 80s. Right? What happened along the way? That now it's our food, it's our lifestyle, it's the way we live, it's our way we eat, it's our relationship with food. It's a whole lot of different things, right? They're going to talk to you and tell you that it's, again, for educational purposes only. But there are going to be those out there that's going to say that it's a disease, being overweight, right? But it's just, if you're 100% doing the things outlined in this episode or the previous episodes, and you're still like that, then okay, then maybe we can go talk to a doctor. Go talk to your naturopathic doctor, see what's going on. You can have a food allergy. We don't know, right? There could be something that's causing it. Especially if you're doing every single thing correctly that we talked about today, and you still got those problems, then you got to go see somebody. Don't let it slide. But again, that's being proactive with your health. And then listen to the advice. I would highly recommend, again, that you go speak to a naturopathic doctor and follow the regimen they put you on. But what's it going to cost you? because once you do it, you won't have to continue doing it for life. Like I say, if it works, right, the naturopathic doctor gives you something and it completely changes your life around, changes every single thing that you was going on with you, right? You mean to tell me that, and that saves you money, like after you stop doing it, you don't have to keep doing it. It doesn't have to, it's not going to last with you the rest of your life. You're not going to be grateful about that. Right. So what's the, there should be no problems, right? It's go call, find a naturopathic doctor, go talk to him. Look, it can't hurt you if you're already spending money on your medical bills anyway. I'm just saying. But take with that and listen to that how you want to listen to it. But I'm just giving you some information to help. If you're listening to me and you're dealing with some things right now, and maybe you never thought about going to a naturopathic doctor. Maybe you have, right? But don't stop doing what the doctor recommends. It's like, even if I've talked to people that's even gone through surgeries, right? Or they've had injuries in their shoulder and they went to rehab, and they say that, oh yeah, the rehab stuff was working, but why are you hurting again? Oh, I stopped doing it. No, don't do that. Don't do that. You got to go back to doing what you were doing so the pain can stop, right? It's the same thing, right? There's one thing that's definite true with natural health or being for longevity is that as you're doing this, right? It's like a continual thing. And it's just consistent day after day after day after month after month after year. It's just part of who you are. You won't know it, but you'll be walking around, you're feeling better, you're good, right? But as soon as you stop doing that stuff, it might take some time because you've had maybe built up some immunities or what have you by taking these things. But eventually, that's not to say you're impervious from getting sick or anything. It's just prevention is always better than reaction. Okay. So again, none of this is about being perfect. I just got through saying that. None of this is about being perfect. It's about being prepared, right? And what are we prepared for? We're trying to be prepared for the next decade of life, the next 5 years, the next 10 years, the next 20 years, right? That's what we're preparing for, right? Take care of the body that you were given. Honestly, that's all it is. You're taking care of the body that you was given. There was a gift that was given to you when you was placed into the body that you have. And if you take care of it, it'll take care of you back. If you don't, it'll say, oh, well, I'm not going to do the same, right? If you think about it like that, it'd be a little helpful. And I know some of the stuff is not fun, but if you learn how to cook, right? If you use seasonings, if you follow recipes, it can be good, right? And it's going to be a whole heck of a lot better, especially like nutrition, eating. It's going to be a heck of a lot better than eating out every night, right? It'll save you money, plus it'll save you time, and it will save your overall health because the body was not meant to eat 10-piece nuggets every day. It wasn't meant to do that, right? And everywhere you go, every food is fried, what have you. Wasn't meant to consume the type of food over and over again. Okay. So I'm out of here. That's all I have time for. If this episode helps shift how you think about aging, strength, or prevention, share it with someone you care about. Okay. Because longevity is not selfish. It's about staying strong for the people who need you. Remember that analogy of the airplane. All right. I'm Dr. Chris Byles, and this is a Balanced Life podcast where we don't just chase results, we build a life that lasts. Until next time, train smart, recover harder, and live balanced, baby.
Thanks for listening to A Balanced Life with your host, Dr. Chris Byles.
Take care of your body, your mind, and your spirit.
Keep moving forward. See you next time.